A lot of people want to come out too hot. It's just because we're in competition. Man, take your time on this first round. Really get a feeling for what's going on up there. How stable is this position, so that you can then minimize the penalties because you're getting good data and feedback.
It's interesting that you also bring up the wind, because Friday and Saturday were incredibly windy. And honestly, right until up this moment, I didn't even notice there was much wind.
Yeah.
So, does every little knot of wind make a difference, or at what point should you be paying attention to that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Any, from 1 mile per, at this distance, even, a 2 mile per hour wind is going to, push your bullet left or right, depending upon, how much value it has, whether it's a full value wind or a quarter or whatever it may be. So one of the tricky parts about this range specifically is there's this kind of, you're shooting into a lot of clean air. And what I mean by that is we're shooting over basically this little valley, if you will. And so all the trees and shrubbery kind of dip down. And so those things will tend to, slow down the wind. Whereas now where our bullet's going, because you're having to hold up, right? So your bullet's traveling through a lot cleaner air. And so what you're feeling here, when you get up into that elevation, into the air, it's actually going to be moving a lot smoother and faster. So you're going to have to, if you understand that, you'll know, okay, maybe I'm feeling a 3-4 mile per hour on the ground, but where my bullet's actually traveling through the air, it's probably going to be closer to a 6 or 7 mile per hour wind. And that gets a lot of people, because man, I'm missing right. Like, it's only a 4 mile per hour wind, when actually, because of where that bullet's traveling through, you're actually getting a lot more.
Well, and because even earlier today, incredibly hard stage when it came to holding the rifle in the freestanding position.
Sure.
Right now with these barricades or the tank traps, it is a relatively stable position. So you would assume that, okay, you're there, you're locked and loaded, for lack of better words,
Right.
but taking into account that wind, I think, is important.
You can get a pretty stable position. Like I have a pretty good experience with those tank traps, but it's still not going to be perfect. You're still going to have some wobble. And so you have to be able to understand that. And it's going to come down to some timing and an acceptable sight picture. Because you'll sit there and it's never going to be still. You're not going to be sitting in a prone position here. So, you have to be able to break that shot into an acceptable sight picture, where in a general area you need to be holding. And the plate's big enough for that much air. Like, you get a 2 foot by 2 foot piece of steel. Like, it's a massive target for this distance. But because of the barricade you're having to shoot off of, the wind factor, and obviously now when you come into it with an elevated heart rate and higher breathing rate, it makes it pretty daggone challenging.
And that in the center of your screen, Justin Cole, he is the first to start his second round. But then to the right of him, Colton Cunningham. We talk about the fatigue that you're going to get from the single arm and having to do these farmer carry. There's not a specific standard as to what arm you need to use. Would you try to use your non-dominant arm the entire time, or would you decide to alternate?
That's an interesting question. It would come down to the sheer volume of penalties that I would have to do, because if I have to go down and back once, okay, yeah, I'm going to keep it in the same hand and save my strong hand, right? But if I'm having to do multiple, it could, I could end up taxing myself to the point to where I have grip failure.
Oh, and you don't want to get there.
And you don't want to get there, right? So I don't think the weight's heavy enough and the distance isn't that far. But if you're having to do, because you've got a total of 14 shots in total, and if you're starting to stack up in, 5+, right, you're going to experience some severe grip fatigue. So, alternating it may not be the worst idea, but if you only got 1 or 2, man, absolutely, save that grip strength for the strong hand, because you're going to want it on this pistol shot.
Now, getting into this position, watching Justin, he's got his legs on either side, and he's resting his arm and elbow on there. How do you figure out, is it body size, body type, of what is the best way to get around there and stabilize?
Absolutely. I mean, so mobility is going to play into it, but absolutely, taller guys are going to have a different set of problems to deal with versus some of the ladies that have a shorter stature. They're going to be able to get lower into that V a little bit more, and it's all about touch points. The more surface area you can get your body on, right, the more you can use that tank trap to stabilize you. And so it's a lot easier to get in there as a smaller frame individual and create that structure so that you can be more stable by using the tank trap. So it's he's got a great position. That's how I would approach it. I would get my legs around it. I'd actually probably take his right leg and put it on top of the tank trap. That way,
what do you mean on top? Like where?
So like he's got it on the inside of the leg right now.
Oh, you would put it on the outside.
I would put it on the outside of it and just have it sitting on that tank trap. So now I'm even putting more weight and pressure on that tank trap, and it's helping not only stabilize the tank trap, but me as well, right? So there's just a little bitty nuances, and he's doing it on the left side. You can see his leg on the left is on the outside of the tank trap, but it's all about creating as many touch points as you can on that tank trap so that you can create as much stability as possible.
And then as he moves now to his pistol with the one strong arm, you see a lot of different techniques here. He's got his left hand on his chest. Sometimes you'll even see athletes open all the way up where we would be able to see his entire back. Is there an advantage to one way over the other?
I mean, this comes down to a lot of personal preference. You know, I looked at a lot of guys that do bullseye shooting. And like the AMU guys that do the bullseye shooting, they completely blade themselves. So like if I'm shooting with my right strong hand, basically I would turn my chest and point it directly perpendicular to the target, right? So my arm is basically straight out. My chest is pointing perpendicular to the target, so away from it. And that way I'm trying to catch that recoil impulse coming through here. Whereas if I'm out here, I mean, I'm still going to catch it, but I've got more structure here involved to be able to try to stabilize that gun a little bit better. And I actually take, you know, for me, it's a little thing that I do. I actually put my left hand in my pocket.
In your pocket?
In my pocket.
Do you hold on to the pocket? Do
Not
you
necessarily.
Have
I just put
snacks in the pocket?
Yeah,
What do you got in there?
You know, there's a Lucky Charm in there, a little rabbit foot. No, I for some reason that's comfortable to me, and I've seen some people do it, and you know, that do bullseye shooting, and it's just kind of like I'm trying to get into, you know, like long range precision shooting. And precision shooting in general is about doing the same thing every single time. So I try to get into a position to where I'm literally doing the exact same thing every single time, so it's repetitive. And that's what I do. So that way, because I've caught my hand up here on my chest, I've caught my hand like, you know, out here like trying to stabilize, whereas now if I put it in my pocket, I know I'm in the exact same spot every time.
And we got both these guys starting their third round, or all three of them onto that third of four rounds. So the down and backs go down. They just have to go down once and back once to advance to the next one. Or I'm sorry, this would be round 3.
Yeah, and that bar is just creating, I mean, that axle bar is just a pain, just because it's so hard to grip because of how thick it is. And when you have to put it in that overhead position and then the front rack, it just creates so much tension on your chest to breathe. And so, man, it is so hard to breathe. But, I mean, if you've developed your, you know, obliques and everything that really stabilize that core and have learned how to breathe through that stuff is massively important, so that when you get up on that line, you're not now gasping for the air up on the line. Like, you've been breathing through the process, and so that you can get up on the line. And like me personally, like, I'll probably take a big breath in, big breath out, and I'll try to get 1-2 rounds. And I'm trying to get into a natural rhythm of cadence. But if you're not breathing while you're doing the work, well, now you can't do that. Like, you're going to be sucking for air.
Breathing in tactical games, extremely important.
Yeah.
Especially because you have the plate carrier on too, and that, even depending what type you have, are they metal plates, are they soft plates, how tight are you making it, does it actually fit you properly? All of those make a difference in how you can breathe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, most guys are running these flexible plates. I run a pair as well, you know, from Jacked Rabbit. So I ran steel plates initially, and I got away from that after I caught one in the chin. Pretty good. So
the plate carrier hit you in the chin. That doesn't feel right.
I came off a box, and you know, it continued to go up while I was going down. So that wasn't fun. But yeah, the plate carrier is a big deal. I mean, you know, some of these guys, you know, most people nowadays you see they've got a pretty slim profile, right? We're trying.
Well, it's funny you say that, because sometimes people who view our videos on YouTube will comment and say, are they just wearing the cloth? Like, are there any weights in it? But yeah, some of the brands now are just so slim that it does look like there's nothing in them.
Super minimalist, you know, super, because we're trying to literally put as little as we can on our chest and on our body. So, because we already have enough to deal with as it is. So we don't want to add to that any bit. And you want to be able to breathe. Like, I mean, your body be able to breathe. That's an interesting stance what he's got there because he's got his strong leg back, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think what would feel natural is the opposite.
He's really contorted kind of in a funky way because he's having to get this out front, so his shoulders are breaking this way, but then his hips are trying to come this way. So it doesn't look like a very natural position. Like you want to be in something where like if you shoot or close your eyes and then shoot, like you'll remain in that position. Like I would imagine if he shot and closed his eyes and opened, he would eventually drift off to the right just because of that's where he's contorting his body to. But if it works for him, it works for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see some weird stuff out here, and if that's just what you found out where you're most stable and comfortable, then I send it.
Well, the good news is today closes out our 2025 season. Hopefully people are learning some things from the broadcast to better prepare for 2026 because 15 regional events, plenty of opportunities to compete and maybe compete multiple times. For you, have you found what is the sweet spot of amount that your body can actually take competing at these things?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the elite division. I mean, you know, especially at least at my age, you know, and most of the guys in the group are, you know, we're all in our mid-30s getting up in there. So, I mean, it takes a beating on you, man. And so I'll do 2, maybe 3, but I'll make sure I try to space them out just depending upon the schedule and where they are. If they're, you know, obviously I try to stay within the Southeast, something that's closer to me. But I try to get one in the very beginning of the year, one trying in the middle, and it can be anything. I mean, even if it's like a skirmish, you know, just you're going out and getting the reps. That's what it's all about. It's going out and, you know, getting time under the tension, getting the reps on the barricades, and just the flow of everything. So, because it's really hard to replicate this in training. Like I'll
Impossible.
I'll try and do it, but there's just a different aspect of it when you're actually out here. You got people to your left and your right that are competing. So, you know, 2 or 3 is probably is where I'll cap it for the year. But I also am shooting a lot of other things as well. So, you know, tactical games is the main focus for me, but I do a lot of, you know, long range precision stuff and things of that nature. So, it can wear on you pretty quickly, but, you know, and I'll try to do one closer to the end of the year just as a final confirmation, if you will, like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling good, or hey, I need to go work on this, or whatever it may be. So, and it also gives you exposure to some of the events and styles of things you'll see at the championship. So,
and here, Justin Cole, this will be his last sequence with his pistol, coming on about 30 seconds left on the stage.
I mean, he's hitting that, he's smoking that pistol.
Yeah, that's a good shot where you could kind of see the, like when it hit the shot, the steel.
Yeah. I mean, hey, see, if it works for you, it works for you. How many did you? You had 3? No, he's not going to get his penalty work in.
And that's what happens when you have penalty work. It sometimes bites you in the butt. Yeah. There's been a lot of penalty work this weekend, more than I think we've ever seen.
Oh, for sure. But it's such a great format. You know, it really forces you to slow down and think about what you're doing, because with paper you can kind of tend to get away from it and just focus on going hard. Whereas if you got a live penalty that's coming your way, if you don't execute, then it kind of changes your mentality on the whole situation.
So that will close it out for our first squad of elite men. We have a couple more that we are going to be covering, but if you're just joining us, welcome everybody to the final day of our 2025 national event. I'm Lauren Khalil. We have Kurt Fennell, one of our top elite men's competitors, joining us, but this is what they are getting after. Stage 13, loaded carry, a 15-minute time cap, and it's a mix of axle bar in the front rack position and overhead at 160 pounds, and then shooting from 470 yards, steel for the rifle, and then about 20 yards, only strong arm on the pistol. And leading into today, Kurt, the leaderboard, Jacob Hepner doing what Jacob Hepner does.
Yep.
nearly running away with it. But some other fun moves on the leaderboard. Jose Sagoon, he's been able to move up. Mike Palmer and Aaron Clark have this fun, very tight match. And mind you, not all the scores from today are in yet, but this is what it looked like before they got after 2 stages.
Yep. No, it's oh help, man. He can even be sick, man. His 80% is.
He had a fever on day 1.
Yeah, it's impressive what the guy's done. He puts in the work and it shows. And I'm really bummed out that I don't get to come out and compete with him. And because you wanna push yourself against the best. And this is why we show up and come do it. So he's doing really well, and I love seeing Jose up there. He's always, we all know he's a freak. He's young. He's got the age.
Sneaky and silent.
Yeah, he's got the age on his side. So that's And Mike, he's doing well. Aaron, I know he's gonna be. There's stages like this. I know he can shoot, and I know this weight for him is nothing. So. And then, we got Kyle. I know he's dealing with an injury right now. So, but this is something that he should be okay with as far as, dealing with that injury that he's got. So if he can hang on, and, I know we got a lot of scores that already need to be updated for today. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes up.
Yeah, and for the stage that they took on before this, we do have the top 5. Aaron Clark will take the event win on the strength erg. Jimmy Woodard behind him in 3rd, Marco Coppola. Then Spencer Spencer Panchik, there we go. And Damon Ortega for our top 5 in the strength erg. But watching that one go down, man, I'm sure you weren't entirely sad you didn't need to do that one this weekend.
No, that one's painful. I haven't got to spend much time on that strength erg at all, but doing, 3, 90-second, pieces on that is, you're just going to be wrecked. You're going to be absolutely wrecked. Luckily, the, stage layout for these guys kind of, I will say, worked out. Because of what you have to do here. It should be okay. Most of these guys train for this kind of stuff, so they'll be able to come out here and handle business here, especially because of the descending workload that you have. That's why, like I said initially, I'm going to come out and probably take it easy on those 4 reps so that I can make sure that I don't go into that first string of fire and make any mistakes.
So this is their first round of work. It's 4 down and backs, so you see each down, they have to go overhead as they get closer to the firing line, and then on the way back, they handle the front rack carry. So they're always in our nice bright shirts. You can always recognize James Morris with the tropical. I feel like I'm on a beach vacation every time I look at him.
Yeah, so he's taking that time. It's okay. People get so caught up, I gotta go. No, just, take a second. It's worth it. You can't outrun the clock, and you can't outrun the penalties here because they will stack up on you so quickly.
Oh, and look at where he has his left hand.
So that's one way to, you're trying to create basically a saddle almost, if you will, to try to get in there and create some stability. Me personally, I like to control the handguard a little bit more so that I can control the recoil. So he's going to have to control the recoil a little bit more with his shoulder, which if you're having to do that, that means you're putting more input into the gun. And so he's probably experiencing a little bit more wobble than he would like. Oh, it looks like he's got a malfunction. Yep, got to clear it. Hold on to that rifle round.
Oh, yeah.
But he's also got a hand stop on that his hand guard, so maybe he's got that pinky wrapped onto that hand guard a little bit. But he is using the tank trap to, absorb the majority of that recoil, which is the absolute thing to do. You shouldn't be absorbing that recoil.
And you were talking about before just how nothing really mimics being out here in competition. Malfunctions happen. The unknown that maybe you've never had happen in training. How do you deal with that on the fly? And because sometimes it's something that maybe you can't figure it out right at the moment.
Yeah, that just comes down to experience right there. You have to come out and get the reps, and you have to rep it because things are going to happen in competition that you would never expect or happen in training. It's just how it is. Because, maybe you're not cleaning your rifle or pistol as much as you should be. And some of these high-end pistols, if you're especially out here in this dust,
Oh, it's everywhere.
it's everywhere. So like if you're not actually really paying attention and have a good maintenance plan in play, it will 100% cause some issues. So it's something that you have to really pay attention to.
So now some penalty work
Yeah.
for several of these athletes before they can start round number 2.
Looks like Landon's up there getting after it.
Yep, so all the way to the left, Luke Kruckmeyer, and then to the right, just above him, Landon Rasmussen in the green. And also you think about all of the stages that these athletes have already done. I mean, it is not for the weak of heart, weak of body, weak of anything to come out here, have 3 days of competition. I think sometimes people also forget the mornings are early because we're chasing daylight.
Yep.
We have to have the safety briefing before sunrise so that we can hammer down right as soon as that sun's going up and we have enough daylight.
Yeah, I mean, that's like when I come out to these things, what we start at 6:20 was this, initial safety brief. And depending upon where you find a place to stay, you could be a pretty early morning. So luckily, I always try to figure out a way. I don't want to be more than 10 minutes away from this, whatever competition we're doing, because I don't like getting up early.
Ranges aren't in cities, if anybody didn't know that. They're typically in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so you got to figure that out because it's an early morning. So learning how to, pace your food. Right, because now you gotta now should I eat now? Because what do I have first? Am I gonna throw this up on the middle of the stage? Like, those are things that you just kind of, if you've never competed before, you will be like, oh wow, I forgot to eat. Like, and then you go do a stage and you're just toasted because you have no fuel. So there's a lot of little nuances that go into this sport that you just don't really understand, and unless you talk to someone that's experienced, and obviously we all share our knowledge of these things, but like you'll learn little nuances about yourself that like, hey, I need to do this because we're getting up so early. This is how I'll eat. Like me, I'll eat my carbs first, and then like I'll go do a stage, and then after that stage I'll immediately eat the rest of my breakfast. Right, so that way I'm getting the fuel that I need from the carbs, and then I'm not really heavy, loading myself down with the proteins and the fats. So that and then after the stage is over, I'll go get that because I'm probably craving it at that point.
So have you had an experience where you almost learned the hard way on what was going to work for you?
I wouldn't say the hard way, luckily, because it's my nutrition, something that I've always been really passionate about, and most people know that about me now. But
oh yeah,
but figuring out the amounts, and just because out here you need to consume so many calories, and it can be challenging on your digestive system to do that. It's if you're not used to it, and you feel yourself tanking, and then you start cramming in all these carbohydrates, like you could experience some digestive issues that are not very fun to deal with when you come out to these stages. So
definitely not out on the range. You don't want that.
No, you don't. So it's it's a balancing act, and you kind of prepare yourself, your literal gut, to be able to handle that type of that volume of food.
Yeah, because this is a lot of work. The weights have been heavy this weekend, the heaviest that we've really seen yet on multiple different stages.
Yeah. I mean, it's nationals. They always bump up the weights here a little bit, because they expect the best to show up here and come out and get after it. So, you're going to get tested.
And I think that's Landon already at the firing line. This is his second firing sequence. We are about at the halfway mark.
Yeah, you can see I think he wrapped his sling around. He actually kind of wrapped it around the tank trap there, and he may be using that somewhat to help brace. That's a strategy that works, because you really want to take yourself out of this equation as much as humanly possible.
What do you mean by that?
So a lot of people will input too much of themselves into the gun, and because we're breathing hard, our heart rates are through the roof, right? So if you're really leaning into that gun, trying to stabilize that gun with your pressure, well, you're transferring all that movement into the gun, right? So if you can get up on that tank trap and build a stable enough position to where you can almost free float that gun, aka it's not like buried into your shoulder, it's just basically resting there so that you can obviously catch recoil, then you're going to be more stable because, I mean, if we go up there and set the rifle on there, it's not going to move, right? So now we're the ones causing it to move. So the more you can take yourself out of that equation, the more stable the platform will be.
We talked about how you got involved with tactical games, but how did you, like, did you grow up hunting, shooting? What was your first experience just being a shooter in general?
Oh, sure. I grew up in the woods. So, you know, my grandfather, my mother's father, took me hunting a good bit. So, you know, and as soon as I got my first BB gun, you know, shooting those things. So I really was shooting my whole life, but I never shot competitively, and it drives me nuts that I never got into it. But I mean, my first tactical games was in 2022, so you know, and that was my actual first shooting competition of anything.
Oh, that
one. So
I thought that you did two gun before or something like that.
Nothing like that. So you know, no real competition experience at all, and so that's why I've been pushing myself so hard to compete a lot so I can get that experience, because it just takes time, and most of the guys out here have a pretty significant amount of experience that are really competing at the high level. So you know, it's been some catch-up game, but luckily I've, you know, been able to go out there and get some experience and exposure to a lot of people that are really good in multiple arenas. And obviously with the training that I get in some of the military schools that I've gotten the opportunity to go to, that helps a significant amount because there's a lot of great shooters in that world.
So in the past 3 years being part of tactical games, where have you seen the biggest improvements in your abilities out here?
Pistol. You know, I'm very comfortable with a rifle in my hands, and pistol's not something that I ever competed with. And so that is, in my opinion, the real separator out here, because with a rifle, you can control a rifle much easier than you can control a pistol. And so it's a much more challenging, you know, platform to be accurate with, especially at the distances that we shoot at and the targets that we shoot at for pistols. So that's where I've been focusing the majority of my training on, is just becoming a better shooter, because there are little things that I noticed last year a lot. When I got fatigued, I would start, you know, trying to pull the entire trigger with my hand. And when you do that, you're going low left every time. And if you looked at my targets, low left.
There they are again.
And I knew I was doing it, but it was so hard because I was just so fatigued. But now I've worked a significant amount to where I've got some techniques and I've got some things that I do when I'm shooting that now I can really focus on just that trigger press. And you know, my first stage that I got to do here, stage 2, I had 2 pistol misses. So, and I was able to shoot at a pretty high cadence, and it's just because of that work I put in to be able to become a more precision shooter with that platform.
So here, Landon has now pulled ahead. He is finishing up his 3rd round at the firing line. So definitely a point in the stage where you feel that compounding fatigue, especially with your grip.
Oh, yeah. And that was a neat so this is a neat technique that he's doing. He's actually taking his sling, wrapping it around that leg of the tank trap, and then he's grabbing it with his thumb, and he's pinning his sling. You can't see it from here, but he's actually pinning his sling to the tank trap and then wrapping his hand around his handguard. So he's using that sling to create tension to bring that gun down into the tank trap, and then he's holding on to his gun as well. So that's a really solid position right there.
Is that something that you would learn from a coach, or can you truly learn something like that just spending more time with your equipment and these modalities of having a tank trap and playing around?
Yeah, either or. You know, obviously, you know, anytime they release a new implement or a barricade, I immediately go build it, right? Because now I need to go, because it's
out in the woods.
Yeah, so it's something that you gotta go out and get experience on. So yeah, they obviously offer classes and things of that nature that you can show up and go to, and then you'll get the exposure. You know, and they always have typically an athlete like myself, or you know, Sal or Hep or any one of the guys out there that can then, you know, share that. Hey, this is what I do, but you know, this is kind of an interesting. So I was a chef, right? So when I
Big
had
foodie.
yeah, big foodie. So when I'd have new guys come into the kitchen, I'd be like, look, this is how I do it. Okay, I'm going to show you what works for me, and this is how some other people do it. But this is the end result, right? We want to be accurate on target, or this is how I want this steak prepared at the end of the day, right? How you get there may look different for you because of how your brain works or how your body type is or whatever it is. So you can take that input and be like, okay, let me try that, and be like, all right, this feels weird. Let me maybe move this, or let me tuck this leg under here. And so you kind of have to develop your own little nuances in every little position because we're all so different built. We have dudes that are 6'4", we have dudes that are 5'6", right? So, it's all going to change based upon your body type and your capabilities and your mobility. So it just really takes time out there and developing it yourself. But you can absolutely accelerate that by getting some help from other dudes.
But I think that's interesting because you look at, mainstream sports, and there are very specific body types that reward strongman or obstacle course racing or a marathoner, where with tactical games, there's not really a prime body type. When you look across the different divisions, like even today we had going over a wall, and we were talking about how with the strength erg, like it's going to reward our bigger athletes or taller athletes. But even if you look at somebody like the 3-time national champ Jacob Hepner, he's not a big guy.
No, he was his eyesight was just below the level of that wall they were climbing over. So, and then you got Aaron Clark, who it came up to his chest, right? So, obviously that favored Aaron in that one specific instance. So, but, that's what's neat about this sport is that you can't be a one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. You have to have capability in so many different arenas of fitness and shooting. Whereas if you don't, you will find that weakness here. Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly finding those weak points, and that's what I love about it. And that's why you're always chasing that. So, it's you have to really be prepared on so many different fronts. And if you're not, it will show up, and you'll suffer because of it.
There's nowhere to hide in the sport.
No, there's not.
Something will always show up.
Oh, yeah.
But that will close out our next heat of our men's elite. It looked like Landon Rasmussen
He was working on his penalty work.
Getting through the penalty work, which also is where Justin Cole had ended. So both of them almost done.
Yep.
Just under the time cap. But both of them will hang on to the top scores as now we get ready to reset and send in our next squad of elite men. But if you're just joining us, this is what they have on tab. As we welcome in squad 2 of our elite men, it is going to fatigue the grip. Is that really your biggest takeaway, Kurt, as we have watched a couple of heats take the floor for this one?
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. If you can go out and shoot clean, then you don't have to worry about any grip fatigue, right? So is it worth slowing down and getting your hits? Because if you can slow down and get your hits, well, now you don't have to do any penalty work.
Your grip's going to be just fine.
Your grip's going to be just fine. So, then you just have to worry about controlling your breathing, right, because of the actual work you have to do. So, if you're stacking penalty work, then, yes, that's going to be a serious problem. Not so much for the rifle portion, but it's going to destroy you on the pistol portion. No, because unless you're able to go weak hand the entire route, which maybe some guys will do because that's a strategy, but it's going to really catch up to you quickly for that pistol because it's such a difficult shot at that distance, standing strong hand, even if you're not fatigued. If you're fresh, that is a still challenging shot.
So we spoke the other day, and it's, sometimes fun to play the what-if game. Sure. If you were out there doing this, do you realistically think with the skills you have that you could have a clean run and not have to do any penalty work here?
I could say with a pretty significant amount of confidence, I could run the rifle portion clean.
Okay. And the pistol with the strong arm?
The pistol would be challenging. Like I said, I could be fresh, and that's going to be challenging. Because I can assure you, even standing there fresh, your dot is probably going to have a wobble pattern that may get outside that steel, even just fresh. So it's going to come down to, a good, clean trigger press and timing your dot. So you're going to have to be really focused on that plate because a lot of guys will get sucked into that dot, and then they'll try to break it when they think the dot's getting to the plate, and they'll either break early or too late. So the key here is really focusing in on that plate, and as you see your dot come into that plate, breaking the shot. So because if you start following that dot around, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So it's but I mean, I would imagine there's no way I would probably run that pistol clean. I mean, if you run that pistol clean, man, you are one heck of a pistol shooter. That is a challenging shot, but it can be done, and we'll see if anyone can do it here, but I would be impressed.
And they are off. This is our third squad of our elite men. Squad number 2, they start with 4 down and backs. Weight on that bar for this one is 160 pounds for our elite men. But in this heat, we have Joe Trainer, Michael Stoltz, Jared Decker, Jacob Horton, and Zach Wolf. And to start off today, over at stage 11, Zach Wolf put up one of the top scores. He's going to be in our 5th lane. So starting the day in a good position, he was able to end day number 2 just outside of the top 10 in 11th place just behind Jacob Horton.
Yeah, so he's pushing it. And we'll see. I mean, like I said, this is one of those things where me personally, like on the first stage I did, most of the guys took off. And that's typically like I'll hang back. And it's because it's like, all right, we're just getting started. And then I'll let that engine kind of slowly build up. But on this one's a little different because I'm not so interested about getting to the line first. I'm interested in getting off the line first without any penalty work.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because, Kurt, I remember the first regional event that I was working and I saw you. And, I always like to look at the names, who's competing, what are names that I recognize from the regional events I've gone to. And I was like, oh, Kurt Finnell.
Yep.
Who's this Kurt Finnell?
Yeah.
It's actually Finnell.
Yep.
And I don't think I interviewed you until the end of the weekend because you're kind of like Jose in the sense that we might not see you cross the finish line first, but because your shooting is so good, you end up taking event wins or taking top 3 finishes that even out throughout the weekend and have earned you a lot of first place.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Sal's great. I mean, he's done so well with that. He's absolutely competitive physically, but his shooting is what absolutely just makes him dominant in this sport because I've beaten him plenty in raw time, plenty. But then you go look at the scores, I'm like, nope, didn't get that one because Sal outshot me, right? So it's absolutely part of it. Like you can be a physical freak, but at the end of the day, this is a shooting first sport, and that's important. So, if you can come out here and execute shooting well and then handle the fitness, you'll typically fare on the good side of things.
But specifically this stage and these types of stages with penalty work, it allows us to follow the leader and see what their exact times are. The stages that we have paper, there is a bit of delay on who will win those stages, but we do know that, once again, Zach Wolf starting out strong and is your leader in this squad.
See what he's got.
3 of our men. So a couple penalty carries here.
And I'm pretty sure for each penalty, it's a down and back.
With 140 pounds in one arm.
Yes.
That's not light.
No, it's not. So this will be 2. Because I know he had a few pistol misses. I don't know how many rifle misses he had. This will be 3.
And see if that'll do it.
Nope.
Nobody.
So
he's back to
we
it.
got someone else that pulled in front of him.
Yep. So I believe that's Michael Stoltz. Nope. Joe Trainer over all the way in lane number 1.
So there you go. So, and Joe was the last one to the line.
So that's exactly what you were talking about, just being not the first to the line.
Yep. The race is not to the line. This is all about minimizing those penalties.
Yeah, and that overhead position too with the axle bar, as you were saying, like it's much thicker, so you can't get your hands all the way around it.
Yeah.
Do you try to extend your wrists all the way back to keep it stable?
Oh, I have to. I have terrible mobility.
In your shoulders?
Oh, yeah. And so that bar, I mean, I'll almost have to take my hands off of it. But in this specific position, like I'd have to bump it up almost like I'm doing a clean and jerk so I can get it up over my head. But it'd be very challenging for me to hold onto that bar in that position.
Oh, and then we'll see also utilizing, you know, if you don't have great wrist mobility, you can also have the zombie crossed arms.
Yeah. Looks like they're both up on the line now.
Okay, so even though Zach had those penalties, he was able to make up a bit of time there to get back to the line.
Well, Zach's got his, so he's going to try to wrap that sling around that. Oh, he's going up to his optic with it.
So Zach was to the line first, then Michael Stoltz, and then right above him is going to be Joe Trainer.
Yeah. I mean, you can see how much Zach is breathing and how much it's moving his rifle. And if we can see the movement, it's significant in your reticle.
Just with it dancing and moving up and down.
Oh, yeah. And I hear some steel clanging.
Mm-hmm. So Michael Stoltz will be done first on the rifle. Now he'll move to his single arm pistol shots. 7 shots at about 20 yards out. Zach right behind him.
There you go. That's a great rhythm for single. Oh, wow. Oh, missed that last one.
Yeah, I think he only missed that last one. So only 1 penalty. That's not too bad. This is the second round.
Yeah, but I don't know how many he got on rifle, but he's moving pretty fast, so
Yeah,
maybe he only got one.
He's like, okay, here is my edge where I can make up some time. We're
Yeah.
just about 6.5 minutes in, 15-minute time cap.
We'll see if he drops it. Nope.
And he'll keep going. So a
Yep.
couple misses on.
Rifle.
Yep, and Zach Wolf already getting to work. We'll see him as he comes back. But who is going to strike first to start their third round of work? Both of them back and forth with these penalties.
There you go. Okay, so he only had 2 misses.
Not bad.
Pick it up and go, brother.
What do you tell yourself because, you know, from a spectator, you see a lot of that hands on your knees. What are you telling yourself that gets you to pick the bar up faster or move to the next movement faster?
Well, you know, for me, it comes down to where I'm at in the stage. Like, I have to be consciously aware of how much work I have left. And so, like, on the sandbag stage that we did on Friday, you know, I knew where I was and how much I had left. And so it's time to dump the tank, right? So he's got, you know, he's in this round of 3, so he's got 2 down and backs, right, with the overhead and front rack carry. So that's not a lot of work. So, you know, he's obviously got his data for the rifle. I mean, if you've got it and you've built that position, it's time to go. You know, you can make up a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to keep in mind, you still got that pistol is what's the most challenging, but he seemed to be really comfortable with that pistol. So we'll see what he can do here.
And then about 470 yards out, you know, they always have the opportunity to get a sight picture, but it's not a ton of time.
No, it's 30 seconds. Let's be honest.
It's 30 seconds. Do you actually get to see the targets, or is it more just like, okay, I'm going to get this as perfect as possible, and then on the first round get locked in?
Or I'll go up, just make sure my data's where I want it to be, fill out the position that I'm going to try out, look and make sure my parallax is where I want it to be, and then you know, where my zoom is at, make sure everything's there, which only, you know, I can do all that within 30 seconds, and then okay, stand up, check my pistol, make sure my red dot's on, and then go get to work.
Okay, so Stoltz is done with his rifle. Now he will have his pistol, which he was very good at in the last round.
2, 3, 4. Wow. 5. Oop, miss. Miss.
The last
And I
two.
wanna
Oh, and he
point out,
shakes his
I'm
head too.
pretty sure he's shooting a Glock, and that's impressive. Like, it looked like a Glock. I'm pretty certain that is. And I mean, we all know that Glock triggers are not the most favorable for these types of, when it comes to being under fatigue and shooting at something like that. So that even adds to the level of capability that he has with his pistol platform.
Well, and even just the way he shook his head, had kind of a smile on his
Yeah.
face, like, man, what happened on those last
Yeah.
two?
But that was a really good, impressive pace for strong hand only at that distance, under the fatigue he's currently under.
Yeah, it was the way that he had the,
So no
repetitions.
no rifle misses either.
So he'll be starting now his fourth and final round. We have about 5 minutes left, so just one down and back.
This is where you just drop it. Let's go.
And he very well is going to put up a time to beat.
There we go.
Knowing that our previous competitors only got through almost the 4 rounds, but were into their penalty work. So we'll see how clean he's able to shoot in this fourth and final round. And Zach Wolf, he should be. He's the one on your screen. I believe this is his 4th round as well.
Yeah, he made up some ground.
So Joe Trainer closest to us. Then next to him, Michael Stoltz, excuse me. And then all the way in the far end, a little bit blurry because of the focus, is Zach Wolf. And Zach looks to be done first.
And this is one of those, when you're on this last round, like, take your time. Because if you can get through this round clean and just sprint to the finish line, man, you are going to shave some time.
So it's a race between Stoltz and Wolf. Stoltz closest to us, Wolf over the shoulder.
Yeah, don't get caught up in that, though. Just
Nope,
focus.
especially with the penalty work.
Yep,
that
I think he just went clean on pistol. Let's see how many rifle he has. He's got 1, I think. That's what I heard him say. Yeah,
Okay, so Wolf closest to us. He had 1 down. Now
there.
he's back.
Oh, yep. Look at there. Nice work.
And there it is, Michael Stoltz, just under 12 minutes.
Nice.
Putting up the time to beat. Zach Wolf will continue.
There's Zach. Now Zach's cross. Yeah, man. See, that last round, only having 1 miss.
Oh.
It makes a massive difference in your time.
Taking an extra moment to breathe, get
Yep.
your composure.
Yep. Not getting caught up in what's going on around you. Like, it's
So hard.
It's so hard because we're all so competitive, and you just have to literally just stay in your lane, in your zone, and not focus on what's going on around you.
Yeah, between the adrenaline and seeing that you're going toe-to-toe with somebody else,
Yeah.
but it's hard to gauge when you don't know, okay, am I going to actually make these targets? Is
Yeah.
my competitor going to make the targets? And then what's going to happen?
Yeah, you got to turn all that off. Just focus on you.
It's you against you out here, and that is, I would say, more than likely the mindset that athletes have out here. Even as I brought in some of the competitors as they were getting done with the stage, and I would, pull up a leaderboard, talk about point spreads, and they'd say, oh, I haven't looked at the leaderboard all weekend. I am in the top 5.
I never look at if I'm competing, I don't look at it.
At what point do you look at it? Just once the weekend's done?
Once the weekend's over, because for arbitration purposes, just to make sure that, because mistakes happen, just to go in and make sure that everything is what it's supposed to be. But it'll get in your head whether you think it will or not. Like, you're like, oh, wow, I'm this close or I'm this far or whatever it may be. It's just another thing you don't need to bring into the mix of what's already going on out there on the floor. So I tend to not look at it all because for me personally, like, I'm out there, I'm putting everything I have into it. The scores will reflect what they need to reflect at the end of the day. Like, looking at that leaderboard is not going to change anything.
What about for a stage like because a lot of the times the elite men and elite women will end with the physical floater, which doesn't have any shooting. Do you want to know before that, because maybe you can push it harder, or red line?
I'm gonna go red line regardless.
Okay, you don't need the points.
I don't care about what's on that practice score, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I came to do, and I have my game plan. I'll know what it is, and at the end of the day, that's what's gonna set me apart or set me back. It's not gonna be looking at a leaderboard like, oh man, I'm only this far behind. Well, if I knew that or not, I'm still gonna go out there and hammer the way that I want to hammer. So, and I don't want that extra mentality of things building up like, oh man, I'm just this far behind. If I just do this much more, because sometimes for me it will cause errors because I'm like, I pushed a little too hard or whatever. I didn't stick to my game plan because I was like, oh, I'm that close. I want to make sure of it. Well, no, just go out and let your performance make sure of it.
And the way that Jacob Horton manhandled that last couple of back and forths with the farmer's carry was impressive.
My man's strong.
He is strong, and he was fast.
Yes.
I'm not sure if he got done with all of his penalty work under the time cap.
My man.
He's holding his arms up out there.
Yeah, he can move.
He can definitely move. That was a nice little way to end that squad. But the stage win so far, our leader is going to be Michael Stoltz, finishing around that 12-minute mark. If you're just tuning in, welcome everybody. I'm Lauren Khalil in the booth with athlete, competitor, elite male competitor Kurt Fennell, and we are watching stage 13, loaded carry. They're shooting steel, they're having penalty work, they're carrying axle bars at 160 pounds, and if they miss anything on steel, they have to do some penalty work at 140 pounds with just one arm holding that farmer's carry. It is brutal, even if this were the first stage of the weekend, but this is their 13th stage of the weekend.
Yeah, man, everybody's hurting at this point. And that's, you just have to understand that. If you're hurting, I promise you everyone else is hurting just as bad, or if not worse. So we're all in the pain cave now. I mean, you're right there at the finish line. Just ignore it. Go out and handle business. It's, you've got this stage right here, which is interesting that, I don't know if they programmed this intentionally, but, with that farmer's carry, you're really having a single arm farmer's carry. It's really going to work your core a lot just to stabilize things. And then to go sit down in that hunched over position to get in.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a little more uncomfortable than you would think. I experienced that not too long ago at a long range competition. We were having to do a ton of rucking in between stages, and I had to get into this seated, like kind of hunched over position, and I literally went to a cramp in my abdominals. And I mean, just had to
how did you work out that cramp?
Immediately straighten out, like, oh God, and it's so you can absolutely, because you're sitting there just working that core, trying to hold on to that weight, and then having to get down in that position. I mean, it's with how dehydrated guys probably are. I mean, you can try to keep up with electrolytes, but it's going to be so hard now in this Texas wind and heat. You're
speaking of that, I should have a sip of water, huh?
Yeah. It might sneak up on you a little bit and cause some discomfort in that position, especially for the taller guys like Aaron, that is about to go, Zach, and those guys are much taller, and it's a lot more challenging for them to get down into those positions.
And in this next heat of elite men, we will just have one more after this, but we have Mike Palmer, Brandon Wambo, Zach Rodman, Aaron Clark, and Jared Helbert. So another stacked field of our elite competitors coming out here. Aaron Clark, though, he is in that mix of getting into that top 5, trying to advance to the final stage of the evening, because the top 5 will go there. And he was able to lock in an event win this morning on stage 12 on the strength erg.
Yep.
And he also was able to get one of the top times in the first stage of the day, the one with the sandbags and obstacles. He was in the lead for first, but we don't have the total scores from the final squad that we saw of elite men.
Tell you what, I mean, Jared Halbert's out there. I mean, the OG and he had some surgeries this year.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
I know, and doing this event right here where it takes so much core strength, I mean, hats off to him, brother.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to him the other day as I was asking, how are you feeling? How's the body? And I think that it speaks a lot to the athlete when he said, I didn't think it was necessary for me to pick up some of those heavier sandbags. So I went out there, I did the stage as far as I could, and then it just wasn't smart for me to ruin my weekend by doing something that...
Not only your weekend, but, man, after this, like we have things to do after this. A lot of us have jobs to go to that require physical effort, and so it's you got to be honest with yourself sometimes and think about the long-term aspect of things and make sure you're not doing anything that's going to be a real detriment to your health over the long term.
Yeah, so kudos to him for still being out there and, competing as much as he can. He's a longtime competitor since the sport began. He was a former owner of the sport and still comes out here. And
I'll tell you this, though. So this is a shooting, penalty stage. Like, he may not crank it. He's going to be the last one of the line here, but the man can shoot, and he's a wizard with that pistol. So it'd be interesting to see if he can go clean here and maybe, be competitive.
Mm-hmm. And he is going to be, once we get there, so you see him all the way to the middle of your screen now in the all black, last to the line, but as Kurt just said, one of our best shooters out there.
And he's from this area too, so, he's got some inside on the winds that come around here, so we'll see if he takes advantage of that. Not hearing a lot of steel clinging out there.
I was just thinking the same. I was like, I don't hear the ting.
Yeah.
But I do hear a lot of shots.
Yes.
So they are out there.
Rounds. Yeah, see, Aaron's having to sit kind of in a crisscross situation there. It's just different setups for different people. He's really leaning on that barricade.
But take a look. Last one to the line. Guess who's the first off of the rifle? Jared Halbert.
Yep. We'll see how shooting does.
And then Aaron Clark. So him and Jared here. And it looks like the rest of the field is now also working on their pistols with their strong arm only. Yeah, and you can see to the bottom left corner that his judge is counting how many misses. Or actually, maybe he's counting how many hits he has. So I think his judge held up a hand with just one miss, but
see what we got here.
All the way over in lane number 1, Mike Palmer already getting to his penalty work. And this is where we'll really see who's the leader, who had the least amount of penalties.
Yep.
Jared Halbert also. Aaron Clark, Zach Rodman.
Oh, there goes Aaron. Looks like he's going back to work. So it looks like
right in the middle in the white shirt.
Aaron's so strong. I mean,
so strong.
I mean, that weight has got to be nothing for him. I mean, at the end of this weekend, I'm sure it is not comfortable, but of all the
nobody's
people,
comfortable.
Yeah, but of all the people, I mean, this is going to be a great stage for him as long as he can, get dialed in on that long range shooting, because we know he's a great pistol shooter. I've seen the man's videos on YouTube. I mean, he can make that thing sing.
It's no surprise that he was the athlete to win the strength work stage.
Yeah.
The output from him is next level.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Gotta go punch him in the legs before you do anything like that to give him a Charlie horse or something.
It's basically like punching steel, though, so I don't know that would be a benefit for any of us.
Yeah.
Ruin our hand.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's already back now to the firing line for round 2 of his second firing sequence. And then it looks like Jared that's his last.
Yeah, he's doing some work already. So we got Zach out there still doing penalty work. Got Mike still doing penalty work.
A lot of penalties. So
Yeah.
Aaron Clark is the only one to start the second firing sequence.
Yep.
And Jared Halbert continuing with his down and back. So in the second round, they have 3 down and back. So the rep scheme goes down as they get deeper into the stage.
Yep. Come on, Jared. Get under that weight, brother.
Hear us from the speaker. Come on.
Yeah. There he goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about having stomach surgery. It was on his intestines and
Yeah.
the cutting through. I think he said that they actually cut through muscle, but
Multiple points in his abdominal wall. So
yeah, when you think about the amount of movements you do where that's going to not just be uncomfortable, but you have to brace, even just sitting down and crunching over or reaching full extension.
Good Lord, in this sport, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
Your core strength is huge in this sport. So Aaron's back up on pistol. Says 2 hits. Oh, yes, he's taking a break. He's
yeah, he thought about it.
And he's watching that wall, but he's like, hold on. There you go. It's just not worth it to rush.
Well, and as you're holding it out, are you counting how many seconds it's taking you in between? Because not for this stage because it's a penalty stage, but the ones where we shoot paper, for every miss.
Look at that. Look at that. No penalties.
Oh,
My
class.
Man. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay, but are you actually counting? Because for every miss on a paper target, it's 10 seconds.
Right.
Are you being cautious of that time?
No, because like I said, you can't. I mean, you got to think of how long it takes you to come down and back with that, farmer's carry one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit there and burn a few seconds and relax. It's going to take me 5 seconds to come down and 5 seconds to go back. If it takes me 8 to 10 seconds to do one of those reps at probably the minimum side, I can sit there and hang out for 3-4 seconds and relax.
Okay.
Right. Because I'm not actually now if I'm sitting there for 15, 20 seconds now, all right, let's get it together. But Aaron going clean right there is going to put him substantially ahead in this race.
Yeah, because all of these other athletes in this squad, some of them are still on the work of the previous round. He's the only one finishing up his 3rd round, and then he'll just have one more down and back. And we're just about 8 minutes into this with a 15-minute time cap, knowing that Michael Stultz from the previous heat finished around 12 minutes. That's going to be the time to beat that we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah. See, Aaron's taking his time. Like, he hasn't fired a single shot yet. No need to. Because I'm sure that reticle right now is looking nice and just still. I'm sure it's.
So is what he's doing is just trying to get his breathing under control, or what's going on?
I mean, I'm sure he's trying to just take a second and really get in that comfortable position. He knows his data now. He went clean on that last round. He knows where his wind hold is. He knows his elevation hold is good. So now it's just about getting into a nice, comfortable position so you can execute that. I am surprised he's not using his hand stop a little bit more. You can see it hanging out there in front, and it's not in touch with the barricade. But
so would you pull the rifle back to get that in?
I personally would, but he was using his sling instead. But just because you could tell the rifle was recoiling a good bit, and it would take him a second to get back on target, and that was probably because the recoil was knocking him off a pretty good bit. And you could use that hand stop out front to mitigate a lot of that recoil, and let the tank trap do it for you. Yeah, he's putting work on that pistol. He's clean so far.
Yep, and 2 shots to go.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, take your time. There's no reason to. Make it worth it. There you go. Made it worth it. That was a clean pistol run. I don't know how many he had on rifle. Let's see. He's got at least 1.
And once he finishes up this penalty work, he then will start his 4th and final round. We're just about 10 minutes in, so keeping an eye on. He's got about a 2-minute buffer.
1. So he had 1 rifle miss.
I'm pretty sure in this group of elite men, he has shot the cleanest.
Oh, by far.
He's done the least amount of penalty work. And, you know, we talk about that on the specific stage, but also who ends up having to do the least amount of work over the weekend, and how is that going to play a factor into the next stage that they have?
Yep. I mean, their next stage is the jungle run. So luckily it's not a physical event. It's just shooting, but still, I mean, fatigue is fatigue.
So this is his last sequence at the firing line. So he'll finish up with 7 shots with his rifle and then move to the pistol. And then if there's no penalty work, he'll lock in a time.
Yep. Yep. So he's taking his time, getting some breath.
Yeah, he really is taking that time
really
to
taking it. Now he may be. I mean, you take the time you need, but you know that was quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
to
it was
burn,
about
right?
25 seconds.
That's a good bit of time you burned right there. But I mean, if that's what you need to make sure you go clean, it's worth it.
So we're about 15 seconds away from Michael Stoltz's time. So Michael should be able to still lock in the best time of this stage, but it matters how close can Aaron get. So even if Michael edges him out, if Aaron can be close, that's still going to be good for the match points on the leaderboard for him.
Drop that one. Those 2 pistols. Oh, he's frustrated now. Lock it in. There you go. One more. My man. 2 misses on the pistol.
Okay.
He's got to hammer that.
And we know, he just grabs it and he takes off into orbit.
Yep. He's so strong.
He was going so fast it made our cameras glitch here.
Boom. There you go.
And about 12:37.
Nice work.
Unofficially for Aaron Clark. Another great finish to end the final day of competition for him. So far our time to beat is Michael Stoltz from the previous heat, around 12 minutes, but then our next best time will go to Aaron Clark thus far.
That was great shooting. I mean, there's, that'll be a great score.
Very impressive.
Yep.
And just knowing that, there's so many other stages that have added to this fatigue, and being able to run mostly clean is just something to say about how good of a shooter Aaron Clark is.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're at the very end of everything. So it takes a lot to come out here and still execute at a high level and be that precise. I hear a lot of hits.
So Jared Halbert now moving to should be his last sequence of pistol. So 7 shots left for him. Zach Rodman.
See if Jared can go clean on pistol here. That's 4, 5. Oh, there's 1. 2. He dropped his last 2.
Oh, yeah, and there. He's just confirming with his judge. But even the way that he can hustle here with, again, needing to use your core.
Yeah, I mean, you see his shooting makes up for it. I mean, everyone else that's still out there, beat him, but his shooting reigned supreme. I think this, let's see what he gets through. I don't know how many rifle misses he had. We're about to find out. Run, Jared.
They're like, you got to keep going to clocking a time.
There you go.
And Jared Halbert unofficially 14:39. So able to get in under that time cap. Oh, and there's Zach Rodman seeing if he can get
Go, Zach. Come on,
the time in.
Go, Zach.
Oof.
I don't know if he finished his penalty work or he just was trying to get as much as he could, but
as much as possible, and that's always the fun part, seeing, okay, what do you have left when there's 20 seconds left on the clock, and you want to get as many reps in as possible.
Yeah.
But the stage winner, or I'm sorry, the squad winner, Aaron Clark, unofficially 12:37. Second athlete to cross, Jared Halbert, unofficially 14:39. Some great performances from these elite competitors. And for folks watching, there's a lot that you can learn just from watching their body mechanics and how they handle these loads and the targets that they're shooting.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a great testament to being a shooting first sport. I mean, Jared's out there, dealing with what he's got to deal with, and he ended up finishing second in that heat. So, his shooting is what, took care of business on that stage.
And if you are just joining us, welcome to the final day of competition. I'm Lauren Khalil alongside elite competitor Kurt Fennell, as we will cover one more squad of our elite men over at stage 13. These athletes are going to have to endure a mix of axle bar carry at 160 pounds, mixing and matching between the front rack position and the overhead carry, and then going to the firing line and doing their best to hit steel targets, rifle 470 yards out, and then a free standing with only their strong arm with the pistol at 20 yards out. For every miss, though, they are going to have penalty work at 140 pounds of a single farmer's arm carry. And we will be covering our top elite men's heat. In that heat, we are going to have the overall leader, Jacob Hepner. These are the scores that they had entering day 2 of competition. So 2 stages have not been factored in yet, but some really fun fights at the top of the leaderboard within 1 all the way through 6. And they are fighting for points because the top 5 at the end of the day will do a final stage.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard to even think about it or talk about it just because, man, this is my heat right here, and I miss being out there and just grinding with these guys. Like, it's painful, but, man, when you get to share that pain with a group of dudes like this, it makes it so much worth it.
Now that you're on this side, we saw you start the weekend. Unfortunately, weren't able to finish the weekend, but I'm curious, from the outside looking in, have you been able to learn anything about your competition that maybe you weren't able to see when you are competing alongside them?
I mean, I've been competing with these guys so much. I mean, Austin's a newer competitor, so I haven't gotten to compete with him, but I've competed with everyone else. And, we all know each other's strengths and weaknesses at this point. So, I'm not surprised that Hepner's doing what he's doing, and I know not surprised Jose's up there in second, and Kyle and all the guys, Austin. So learning something new about him. I mean, no.
You already know what they're doing.
I know what they're doing with there because I do it, and I just love getting them. It's a tough pill to swallow to come out here and just have to cheer them on from the sidelines. But there's no place I'd rather be. So, I love these guys, and I love seeing them put out and fight, and fight through adversity and the injuries that they're dealing with and stuff like that. So. I'm looking forward to seeing them battle out on this, and then really looking forward to tonight's stage under the lights. Man, there's nothing like that. It's I'm really sad that I'm not going to be there.
I know.
But I'm going to be out there, yelling and screaming at people. So they'll probably have to keep me off the field.
You're going to be too loud and crazy as you cheer these guys on. But here is our top heat of our elite men. They are underway. They will start with 4 down and backs. So going away from the firing line is in that front rack carry, and then going towards the firing line, they're in the overhead position. And they're already off to a pretty fast start, Kurt.
Yeah. Of course, Hepner's out there flying. I mean, this is his world. We all just try to live in it when it comes to these types of movements. So he's so strong with this type of stuff just because he's got so much, work capacity in this world. But, like we said, at the end of the day, it's not about who gets to the first of the line. It's who makes the less, mistakes and doesn't have to do all the penalty work.
Yeah, and Jacob Hepner, former CrossFit Games athlete, a very, very strong fitness background, but has spent the last several years really dialing in the shooting. He's gone for 3 consecutive national championships. He's going for 4th this year. Started the weekend with the flu and a fever, but he's never lost that top overall position.
No, No, he like I said, his 80% is our 100. He's just got that work capacity in him. But we'll see. This is a rifle shot, a long rifle shot. It's something that he's kind of struggled with, but I know he's put a lot of work into it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. See who gets off the line with the least amount of penalties. Because I know his pistol game's strong, but you got Jose out there. I know he's got a real strong pistol game. So all the guys out there are so strong, but it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
470 yards out, 7 total shots.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a really solid position. You can see how his body's just barely moving, but
I was just looking at his back.
Yeah, see, he sets
you don't
right,
see anything.
It sets right back into the position he does after he fires, and so we watched Aaron kind of get knocked around just a hair, whereas he was returning back to that same position every time. So
now 7 shots with strong arm only.
Oh wow.
Look at that cadence, and you can even see the steel moving. If you can't hear it audibly,
so that was a clean
you
pistol.
can see it.
So we'll see how many rifle misses he had.
So Jacob first to move on to the penalty work. Rest of this squad is still at the firing line, either on rifle or pistol. Jose just got done with his pistol shooting and is on to his penalty work.
So Hebner missed at least 3.
So Jacob's still going, but Jose was able to have a cleaner run with his target, so he will start the second round first, and he'll just have 3 down and backs now. So we saw it before in this weekend at Nationals. It is a race between Jose and Jacob, only starting their second round. They do have 4, so we're early in, but no surprise that, our 1 and 2 in the overall standings are continuing to have a fun race between each other.
Yeah, love seeing it.
And based on, again, we don't have the full standings from the 2 stages that they took on today, but when you look at the overall standings and potentially are in Jose's position and you're trying to edge Jacob out, you're trying to chip away at points, how much does he need to obviously be ahead of Jacob, but also help from the rest of the field to get in between Jacob?
Jacob's got a pretty healthy lead right now. It would take some significant events to catch him, just with how it works. And we all know that he's not going to give it to you.
No, he's not. He doesn't want to give up any points.
No, so it's going to take some, a very significant event for that to happen. And we don't want anything like injuries or anything like that to ever creep into this sport. But it would take a pretty significant event for someone to catch him at this point, at this late of the stage. So, but we also haven't seen the rest of the scores yet. So it could shrink. And if it does, then you never know.
The race in this squad, Jacob Hepner in the green shirt, and then Jose with the headband. Time that they're looking to beat at this point, unofficially, Michael Stoltz with just around 12 minutes. So right now we're only about 5 minutes into this stage. Yep. Jose done first with the rifle. We'll move to the single-arm pistol, and Jacob now finishing his rifle and just trying to confirm with his judge how many misses he had on the rifle.
I think I heard 3, if that's so. But his pistol game is so strong. So
Jose, 2 good hits.
Yeah. There's 1. Take your time. Attaboy.
So Jose with at least 1 miss on the pistol. We'll see what happened with his rifle. Jacob already getting to work on his penalty. Both of these guys hustling, though.
Hey, we're at the end of it, man. It's time to let it go. So Jose, yeah, man, he's got the rifle dialed.
Only 1 miss on pistol, no misses.
Come on, Jose, pick it up and go.
So he'll start now his third round, so it's going to be 2 down and backs. Jacob's still working on the penalties.
Yep.
Which is going to give a nice buffer for Jose as we get deeper into this stage.
Yeah. Jose's just got to keep moving. He doesn't have to move fast. He just needs to keep moving consistently, and he'll be just fine. Because obviously he's got the win call. And as long as you got that win call and his position looked great, his rifle returned to the exact same position every time. So he's not having to make a whole bunch of adjustments. I mean, it's looking really good for him right now.
No, Jose, little water break there.
Okay.
He is able to get to the firing line, though, before Jacob even gets to the required work for round 3. Still working on those penalties as Jose now sits. Had a little refreshment, and we'll get to work back with his rifle.
Yeah, I mean, you'll watch as he completes these shots. His rifle will return right back to where just very little movement.
Yeah, I was even trying to look at the top of his shoulders, and
Yeah.
like, is he breathing?
Yeah, I mean, you'll want to, I try to always break my shots off in the bottom of my exhale. So big breath in, and then if I can get 1-2 shots, depending on how stable the position is. But on this, as valuable as they are, it's probably 1 every breath.
Then now with rifle, he'll move on to pistol, and we're just about 8 minutes in. And this is finishing up his third round.
Yeah, Jacob's just now getting to the line.
That just shows how much cleaner Jose has been able to shoot than Jacob.
Yep. Yeah, buddy. He's got it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Come on, one more. My man. If he went clean on rifle, that's going to be epic. He did.
And he did.
Wow.
And he
My
got
man.
better the deeper we got into this. So this will be his last down and back.
Let's go, Jose.
And then just one more firing sequence, and he's about to blow this time out of the water. As long as he can shoot clean here, we are just approaching the 8.5-minute mark. The next best time so far is around 12 minutes, so a good buffer going into the last firing sequence.
I mean, that one down and back for him physically, it's not going to do much damage to him as far as his heart rate, so now he can settle right back into where he just was. If he runs this clean, man, it's going to be epic. It sounds like he is because I hear some steel just getting smoked. My man. I think he went clean on that rifle.
Just 7 shots left here.
Oh, he's got it. He's feeling it.
He's in his rhythm.
Once you find that rhythm, did he go clean? Oh, he went clean. He
And
went clean.
Jose
My man.
Sagoon clocking in a time around
My
9:40 unofficially for the new best
Wow.
time.
My dude.
He is having one heck of a weekend. Moved up the leaderboard after day 2. Was able to sit in that second overall spot. I just refreshed the leaderboard. They don't have the results from stage 12 yet in, but still sitting in second after the first stage of today. He is at 818 percentage points, so sitting pretty good in that second place spot with Aaron Clark just behind him at 808 match points.
This stage right here, though, I mean, that's a significant amount of time. Going from 8 minutes to 12 minutes, I mean, that's going to make a very nice bump for him in the points right there.
A huge buffer because everybody else is still out there getting after it.
Yep.
We're approaching about the 10:40 mark.
Yep. Kyle still working through it. Man, I love seeing that dog fight, man. He's such a good soul.
Just a good human. Just happy to be out here.
Yes.
I don't
Still
think
fighting.
I've ever seen him in a bad mood.
Dude, he saved me last year. I mean, at Nationals when I just was down in the dumps. So,
Yeah, if you ever have the opportunity to talk to Kyle Martin, just like I said, an overall really, really great person.
Yep.
So positive, encouraging, wants the best for all of the athletes here, regardless of where his name is on the leaderboard.
Yeah. Looks like, let's see how much penalty work Jacob's got to finish up. One. There you go.
And Jacob unofficially 11:36, so he will be able to secure the second best time so far in this. And
that's one of those things, it's like, to take down the giant, you need other people to help you out. And for him to go ahead and secure that second place finish unofficially, but I'm pretty sure he did. It could have helped, Jose out a good bit if someone could have snuck in there and taken that second position from him.
Yeah, so at this point, it's going to be your 1, 2, and 3 is going to be Jose, Jacob, and then Michael Stoltz's score of around 12 minutes from an earlier squad will be your top 3 as the rest of the men in this squad finish up here.
Yep. So we got Austin still working through it. See if we got
Kyle Martin.
See if he can run this pistol clean.
And you said he was dealing with an injury coming into the weekend?
Yeah, his inner thigh is just all jacked up. He's got it taped up, wrapped up. He's done
all
just
the
about
works.
everything you can do, and it's just really causing some issues for him. So for him to still be out there competing and it's still be in the top 5 as of now. So we'll see how much penalty work he has here. I mean, this can keep him in the race right here.
And he's somebody who is really gunning for being in that final heat. I know what a bummer it was last year for him when he was just so close to sneaking into the top 5, earning that last stage. That I know how bad he wants it this year.
Let's go, Kyle. So it's in between him and Austin.
Yep, Austin Green and Kyle will lock in a time under the cap. About 90 seconds to go.
Nice work, Kyle.
And Austin Green finishing up his penalty work. Hearing somebody over there encouraging him. Come on, pick it up.
Yep.
And they have just over a minute.
What happened?
We see Jacob Hebner on the other side. Jacob, do you want to come over here and get on the mic real quick?
He's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's saying, nope, he's going to judge, and he's got to recover, and he's hydrating now.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for this next squad of elite men, but it's going to be Jose Sagoon, who has your time to beat unofficially 9 minutes and 40 seconds. If anybody's going to want to take him down, you got to shoot clean, because even the next best time, Jacob Hebner, he finished just about 2 minutes after Jose.
That's a significant amount of time. It'll probably be closer to, that might give Jose a 10-plus point bump, somewhere in that range. So
somewhere, give or take.
Yeah,
but
give or take.
There's one more squad of our elite men, but we are going to wrap up our broadcast now because we're actually going to go head over to stage number 7, and we're going to check in with our elite women. So we'll be back in about an hour. Kurt, it's always great hanging out with you. I wish you the best. I'm sad that we can't watch you finish out the weekend on the competition floor, but I know 2026, that's going to be your year to come back even stronger.
Oh, we're coming in hot next year.
Coming in hot. Be prepared.
Pretty big chip on the shoulder. So we'll let it go. We'll let it all hang out next year.
And Hebner, he needs somebody to dethrone him.
Yeah,
Could it be you?
He got a little taste on stage 2.
Yeah,
so
okay. You beat him on stage 2?
I did. I beat him by 2 minutes on stage 2.
By 2 minutes, that's a pretty good buffer.
Yeah, it was. It was a good feeling, and then everything came crashing down.
And here we are. Well, for Kurt Fennell, I'm Lauren Khalil. Thanks for joining us. Once again, we will be back in about an hour, so don't go too far. We'll catch up with the elite women.